It's false. No way. Not this time. We created it. Not this time. No, not this time. It's totally made up. Pure fiction. It's fiction. It's fiction. We made it up. We made this one up. It's a made-up tale. It's a total fabrication. It never happened. It never happened. This one was invented by a writer. Not this time. It never happened. It's false. It never happened. It's a fake. It's fiction. It's an urban legend. It never happened.
What's going on, guys? It's K-Dub here with another episode of Crypto Zombie. So today is Tuesday. Hope you're having an awesome week so far. We're having a nice green day today in the market, so I'm sure you're happy about that. We're going to dive into that in just a second. Also, I know this video is coming out a little bit late. I had to drive my girlfriend to the airport this morning and it set me back like 3 hours, but I'm still putting a video out for you guys. And if it's your first time checking out the channel, definitely get subscribed. We do this every single day, even if it's 3 hours later than usual. Now, before we move into, talking about markets and price, I'm going to get the obvious out of the way. The SEC delayed their decision on the VanEck Solid X ETF. Is anybody actually surprised about that? So anyway, you can see here really quick, we're just going to talk about this for like 30 seconds. So you had Dave Nadig, he's managing director of a leading authority on ETFs, and he delivered his comment. He basically said it's clear that the SEC is still in information gathering mode. Technically, there are deadlines, but honestly, the SEC can do whatever they want. They can kick this down the road until they are comfortable. It is clear from what we are hearing. And one of the things that they had as far as the commentary that's being sought on 14 different issues, well, here's the big one right here. Whether or not the volume of US dollar trading of Bitcoin is an appropriate measure of Bitcoin market volumes. Now, don't forget, guys, we had that Bitwise report that came out that said about 95% of pretty much all the volume is washed, right? And just to kind of point it out real quick, you can see right here, Bitcoin says on CoinMarketCap that we have $22 billion worth of volume. But if we come over here to on-chain effects and we look at the real 1024, that's the trusted 10 exchanges, you can see that it's only 1 billion. So CoinMarketCap is reporting Bitcoin volume 22 times higher than the real 10 24-hour volume. So obviously, there's still a lot of things we need to sort of work out. We got to, for these ETFs to get approved. But realistically, we still don't have an ETF, and we went from $31,000 to over $8,000. Literally. So I don't really see the stress on the ETF. Not that it would be a bad thing. It would definitely get people into the space. It would help. But I mean, I'm not really seeing an immediate need for it currently. So that's just my take on that, guys. Let me know if you disagree with me. If you think an ETF is like, we need an ETF, drop a comment, let me know. I could be totally wrong. Just let me know, guys. But anyway, having a look at what's going on with this, we do have, let me give it a refresh now that we've been here for a while. All right, so we have a $248 billion market cap. Bitcoin is trying so hard to break through $8,000. There is some resistance. We had a triple top. I'm going to go into that in just a second. Ethereum doing quite well. If we look at the biggest gainers of the day, we have Bitcoin SV up 59%. What? Well, obviously, guys, it's because Craig Wright is definitely Satoshi. We're going to get to that in just a second. Matic Network up 44%, taking a bit of a cool off since this morning. Holochain 27. So we're seeing the altcoins pumping today. We were calling for a potential altcoin boom. We had that little blip the other day and we were like, was that it? Right? Well, looks like now we're finally having that blast off, all right? And actually this morning, if we have a look at this, it was a lot higher. Look, Matic was up to 84% and Bitcoin SV was at 74%, but you can see we've had a little bit of a cool off since then, all right? But now, talking about Bitcoin, talking about this critical level and what could potentially happen, well, I need to point out something, okay? And I'm not being a bear here. You guys know I'm very bullish on crypto long term. We actually could blast right through this resistance and we could see, a $9,000 Bitcoin, within the next few days. But I want to be a little bit realistic about this, okay? So basically what we have here is we have 3 points of contact, 1, 2, 3, and we've yet to be able to break above that. Now, this signals to me basically what you can see right here. Now, this is over at Investopedia, and this is called a triple top. You see you have 1, 2, 3, and usually the price goes down after that, right? Now, everyone's looking at it. Everyone's thinking the same thing. So you know how the markets are. Maybe they'll try to trick you and it'll go the other way. But I want to let you know basically, essentially, what this is. So you can see right here, it says the triple top pattern is a type of chart pattern used in a technical analyst to predict the reversal of an uptrend. So the pattern occurs when the price of an asset creates three peaks. We pointed that out at about the same price level. The area of the peak is the resistance. The pullback between the peaks is called the swing lows. So after the third peak, if the price falls below the swing lows, the pattern is considered complete and traders watch for a further move to the downside. So let's have a look at these swing lows. I already marked them out right here. So you can see we have had some nice support, okay, right around this $7,768 region. So is this the definition of the swing lows? Well, there is one particular level where we had the lowest of the swings, with the exception of when we fell right here, and that is right around the $7,580 level, which, as you notice, if we go back to May 11th and May 12th, that was the resistance that we had difficulty breaking, and then we fell down and, obviously formed this trend line. So if we do fall below this $7,590 level, then I do think that there's a slight chance we get picked up by the support, but we could fall lower to this psychological $7,000 level, which you notice so far Bitcoin has been holding its ground, okay? So that is just something that I want to point out as far as that's concerned. But there is a lot of good news to be talked about, and that is the fact that according to, this, we're going to be having the Bitcoin halvening, or the year leading up to the halvening, in just 2 days. Now, everyone's got sort of a different opinion on when this is happening. If you go to Bitcoin block half, it says 367 days. If you go over to the Bitcoin halvening, it also says 367 days. However, if you go to the Bitcoin clock, it says 364 days. So give or take a few days, whether it was yesterday or it's happening in 2 days, essentially, basically 1 year from right now, we are having the Bitcoin halvening. Now, you guys know, we've gone over this, what has happened in the past. Every single time we have the year leading up to the halvening, we sort of find that nice bottom, or at least close enough to the bottom. And then at the halvening, or at the halving, whatever you guys want to call it, we do tend to see the beginning of the next severely obvious bull trend. And you can see right here, we had $12, and then at the second one, which was in 2016, Bitcoin was up to $657. And keep in mind, these aren't even the peaks, okay? As a matter of fact, these tend to happen during the lows and or accumulation periods, right? So if we go over and actually just look at the chart, I'm not going to do anything fancy here, right? I just want to show you basically where these would line up in our charts. And you could see this is the year leading up, the red is the year leading up, and the green is the actual halvening. And you could see that just because it's a year leading up doesn't necessarily mean that we won't have some other kind of potential, pullback before we go up. As you can see right here, we actually had the one all the way back in November 11th. Let me show you right here. Obviously, I have these on the weeklies. So you can see right here, it happened around November 21st, okay? And you can see we went up, right? But we did have a pullback, all right? So I just wanted to point that out. However, you'll notice that generally the actual Bitcoin block reward halvings themselves tend to take place in a trend that tends to confirm the beginning of the parabolic uptrend. So usually by that time, you're not going to see any more major sell-offs. So let's go to the next one, okay? You can see right here, we had the next year leading up in July 15th, around July 6th, and then it fell down here, okay? Now, these are just rough. I'm just doing the weeks. I know I'm not exactly down to the days, but you could see we did have a dip before confirming up here. Actually, even in this one, we had a little bit of a dip, but then it was full on bull mode after the actual halvening event itself. And currently, we are finding ourselves around this third area. I don't know why this moved it. It should be over here. I think this moved itself. I had it there. So as you can see, if we look at history, there is a potential chance of coming down here just a little bit. I'll just kind of draw something for you real quick. I don't really know what it'll look like, but we might have something, where we touch down here maybe, and then, eventually begin our upwards trend. Now, are we going to fall below that $6,400 level? I mean, we don't really know, okay? It acted as pretty intense support during the entire bear market, but then we did blast through it. So it was the resistance we were looking for. You know, we had the volume range saying that was the spot to look at, but we had no difficulty breaking through it. And, you know, the other thing that I want to point out too, guys, is it's a very different market this time around. You know, we have so many different situations. We have so much financial, you know, institutions being interested. You have Backed coming out, Fidelity. It's just a different beast this time. So are we going to follow the exact same patterns that we have before? No. Okay. And as W1 pointed out in this tweet, you know, she does say that obviously we know history doesn't repeat itself, but it often tends to rhyme. And if we have a look over here, if I just go back and forth between these two charts, let me just go back to the chart. You could see, you know, look, obviously there's a lot of similarities between these two cycles. But the thing is when we did have that fall off at the end of the 2015, right before we went into the ultimate bull market, excuse me, you know, we haven't really had that yet, except for that 20% pullback that we had from the fat finger trade, which a lot of people are saying that doesn't even really count because it was probably just a mistake or it was market manipulation to fill the CME gaps, right? So that's just something to keep in mind moving forward, right? Now, let's talk about altcoins. We're seeing altcoins starting to boom. Not all of them, but some of them are really gearing up, right? So have a look at this total to market cap, which is everything excluding Bitcoin. So essentially, we're just looking at the altcoins. Now, we had our first breakout here. I mean, it literally wedged, right? And now we're forming another one as well. Let me zoom into this a little more so you can see it a little better. As you can see right here, we are definitely coiling tighter and tighter with these altcoins. So as we get closer and closer, to essentially maybe May 22nd, I mean, I would think it would happen. I would think it would happen within the next 24 hours. It could be 48 hours. Sometimes these, they'll go a little farther, or they won't even get to the end of the wedge and they break out. Actually, I tend to find that happens more so often than going beyond the wedge. I find that they'll actually break out to the upside or the downside a little bit sooner. Now, looking at the price movement and the sentiment, assuming that Bitcoin doesn't do anything and just stays exactly where it is, or just keeps going sideways, I would imagine that these altcoins would break out to the upside. I would assume it wouldn't be to the downside, because that just wouldn't really make any sense in the current market conditions, right? Now, one altcoin in particular that tends to lead the way is Ethereum. And Ethereum did lead the way with the rally a little bit ago, right? So currently the question is Ethereum going to really have that big pop off next? Now you could see not only is Ethereum forming its own wedge, but it's also been holding really steady above this dotted green line you could see right here. So it actually has two potential opportunities to break out, one being very, very soon, as in today or tonight, right? And then the next one being potentially in the next 48 hours to maybe 36 hours. So I would definitely keep my eyes on Ethereum. And if you want me to just break it down even simpler, we could just look at the daily candles right here. You could see there is clearly resistance, clearly support, and also right here around this $233 level, even if worst case scenario, we did break down to the downside at the end of this wedge, this has provided a pretty good amount of support, as you can see right here on May 18th, and also right here on May 19th. So that's the situation. Altcoins are looking like they might explode. Ethereum is looking like it might explode as the number 2 altcoin as well. And as far as Bitcoin is concerned, going all the way back to the charts, if Bitcoin can have one more test up and break, because remember, it's only a confirmed triple top if it breaks below the lower swing low, right? And we haven't done that yet. So if we stay in this region, we stay above this red line, that actually remains bullish for Bitcoin. And if Bitcoin actually continues to travel sideways and ends up completing this wedge that it's trying to form over here, well then by June 4th, the latest, we could be looking at an explosive move. However, with the way that things have been going in the markets lately, I wouldn't be surprised if that move comes sooner than, June 4th, June 3rd, which I think it will, personally. So that's what's going on. But I know why we're all here today. It's obviously because the U.S. Copyright Office has now said that Craig Wright is the author of the Bitcoin white paper and therefore is obviously Satoshi Nakamoto, because obviously if he's the author and it was written by Satoshi Nakamoto, well then by default, Craig Wright is Satoshi Nakamoto, right? Let's have a look. let's have a look. So it says Craig Wright has been granted copyright registrations for by the U.S. for the original 2008 Bitcoin white paper, as well as most of the original code. The U.S. Copyright Office is the first government agency to recognize Wright as the author of the white paper, as well as the main writer behind the code that was published in January 2009. According to CoinGeek, Wright has said he intends to assign copyright registrations over to the Bitcoin Association, a non-profit supporting the BSV ecosystem sometime in the future. But here's the thing. As they said, to be clear, these are just registrations. Although an official would have to sign off on the validity of Wright's claims, this is not definitive proof that he is indeed Satoshi or the creator of the Bitcoin code. Okay, as you can see over here, Jerry Brito, executive director at Coin Center, says registering a copyright is just filing a form. The Copyright Office does not investigate the validity of the claim, they just register it. Unfortunately, there's no official way to challenge a registration. If there are competing claims, the office will just register all of them. Now, he does down here say that someone could today also register themselves as the author of the white paper, thus inviting a suit from Wright and letting a court decide on the validity of the claim. He says, I volunteer Peter McCormick. And guys, just a simple Wikipedia search for copyright registration, you would see right down there that it is a common misconception to confuse copyright registration with the granting of a copyright. So it doesn't mean anything. It just means that he was the first person to register a copyright. That's it. Literally, that's it. There's nothing else to this story, guys. We still know how we feel about this. I highly, highly, highly doubt that this man right here is Satoshi Nakamoto. There's just been unbelievable amounts of just completely opposing things that, even if you look at the way that Satoshi used to talk, just the way he used to type and go about himself is nothing like this guy. And on top of that, if you're really Satoshi, man, just move some Bitcoin from the wallet. Just move some Bitcoin from the wallet, right? So that explains why Bitcoin SV has been pumping, although it has pulled back since this morning. Yeah, it's still pulling back. It's literally, since I had the page loaded, it's down from 66% to 56%. So there you go. Okay, so no, Craig Wright is not Satoshi. Now, let's get back to what's been going on. Now, they actually had this thing from Finder.com, and they basically had a panel of cryptocurrency and fintech leaders. So they didn't go into all of them, but some of them that were there was the COO, Sarah Bergstrand of Bitbull Capital, the COO, Ben Ritchie of Digital Capital Management, Officer Jen Durham from Arca Chief Investment. So just some of them, right? You can look at this if you want, but there was a nice real breakdown of it because the article's a little lengthy. But over here on Xi Crypto, basically you could see that this is what they had to say. So half of the panelists say that now is the time for regular people, whatever regular people means, to buy Bitcoin. And 4 of the panelists think that Bitcoin will exceed its all-time high price of around $20,000 during this next bull run. I think we all pretty much agree it's going to do that. The average of the Finder report panelist predictions said that at $7,500 on June 1st is a good number for Bitcoin. Okay, that is very possible for it to be that number. We're not that far away from that. And in fact, that's actually a little lower than where we are right now. And in the longer term, they said that by the end of this year, by December 31st, they collectively believe that the average price of Bitcoin should be around $9,659. So just under 10K, okay? Many of the panelists seem to agree that the crypto adoption is moving forward. One panelist noted that the growing participation in the sector is a very positive thing, right? The fundamentals of Bitcoin improved significantly during the bear market. Despite negative sentiment suppressing the price, the utility and adoption of Bitcoin has increased during this period, and now that sentiment has returned, so does its medium to long outlook. Now, I have been saying this for a while. A lot of people say, what do you think is really going to bring people in? What does Bitcoin have to do? Or what needs to happen in the space to really get the next wave of people coming in? I say Bitcoin just needs to go to 10K. Honestly, it's pretty simple, because once people hear that Bitcoin is now to half the price it was at the all-time high, you know what I'm saying? You're already halfway there, right? It's going to get a lot of people interested. I'm telling you, watch how many of your friends and family come out of the woodworks around 10K Bitcoin. Watch how many phone calls you start getting, okay? I just remember I said that, guys. So, but why are we pumping anyway, right? I mean, a lot of people have been calling this almost a fake out rally. That's why I said we were in the denial phase, because it seems like people almost don't believe. Like they're like, this has to be manipulation. This doesn't make any sense. Why is Bitcoin pumping? Why is it going up? This can't be. We were just in doom and gloom, right? But that's market cycles. That's actually how markets move. And you can see right here, they had an interview with Jimmy Song. This was actually on May 14th, but they asked him what he thought about it. And he said that Bitcoin whales might have seen the large amounts of shorts that were piling up on Bitfinex and in turn might have looked to take out these shorts. The events led up to Bitcoin just blasting through all of these levels, right through 6,400, right through 7,500. So he did expect a retracement after reaching 7,500 down to about $5,600. Now, this interview was May 14th and we didn't have it. That didn't happen. Bitcoin kept going up, right? Also, I just want to point out that Bitcoin does not care about anything that has been coming out in the news lately. Like nothing. We've had Tether FUD. Bitcoin didn't care. Binance got hacked. Nothing happened. ETF got delayed again. Nothing happened. Brad Sherman had came out and said that we need to make cryptos illegal. Nothing happened. In fact, Bitcoin has continuously just gone up. Bitcoin is the honey badger. You know that. Also, they talked to him about what was going on and questioned the source of the new money. He said, who's actually putting the new money in? He said, that's the real question. No one really knows where the new money's coming from. If it's whales playing games to wreck all the shorts, then that money will just come back out. But it hasn't. In fact, the overall market cap has gone up, right? But it seems like there's genuinely new money entering the scene, he says, and that almost always means that price is increasing. So if we have genuine money actually coming into the space, then that is a lot more positive. But I want to ask you something because they put this at the bottom. So let me ask you, why do you think that the Bitcoin price has surged? So they have US-China trade tensions, crypto-related announcements made at Consensus, the impending reduction in Bitcoin, the halvening, right? Institutional investors embracing cryptocurrency, retail investors believing it's a good time to buy, or other, or everything above. You know, we may just actually be having that perfect whirlwind of just all the good news that we need to hear at the right time. And the bad news, it doesn't seem to matter, right? So let me know what you guys think. Why do you think we're pumping? Do you think it's manipulation? Do you think it's genuine? Do you think it's just time? It's been a long enough bear market? Let me know down in the comments below, guys. But one thing that is unfortunate in this space is we still do have things like this. Now they're saying that Cobinhood potentially exit scammed. Let me know if any of you were affected by this. I'm sorry if you were. I don't know if that's the case. So they say the cryptocurrency exchange has suspiciously filed for bankruptcy while unexpectedly appointing a liquidator to lay off its staff. Cobinhood will officially be closing its doors. Now what's interesting is the Dexon ICO occurred last month and the tokens were scheduled to be unlocked on May 20th. However, it seems that the team had taken the opportunity not only to declare bankruptcy, but quickly sell its Dexon tokens for profit. So they're calling this an exit scam. And you can see right here that they're pretty much the same company. So they say large amounts of the COB tokens have suspiciously been moved in just the past hours as seen on Etherscan. It seems likely that Dexon is currently spamming zero Dexon transactions on its network to hide the massive sell-off that the company made earlier today. Also, earlier this month, Cobinhood announced Popo Chen's departure, if you guys remember this, right? Due to personal and investor disputes along with his supposed emotional instability. Right? So in an attempt to save face, Chen has said that he will continue to make Dexon operational and that this is not the end of business operations. And you can see right here, Cobinhood is down 38% on a day where, you know, we are seeing mostly green across the board. So that is definitely something. Let's see if it's recovered a little bit. Yeah, and look, it's recovering. Isn't it crazy how people... The same thing happens with these coins that get delisted, man. People try to pump them. Like, look at Dexon. Dexon actually, after the dump, actually had a little bit of a pump. So if we zoom in here, you can see that there was this dump and it just came right back up to where it was. So if we give it a quick refresh, all right, it looks like it just dumped it back down again. I don't know. A lot of volatility, but that is the situation with that. Also, side note, the IRS says it will soon issue crypto tax guidance in its first since 2014. Sure, we're waiting. We're patiently waiting, guys. And finally, to end on some good news, we had a little bit of... Today was a crazy day. I had a crazy morning, so yeah. But anyway, had to get a video out. As you can see, the pomp said NFL quarterback Matt Barkley tried to get the San Francisco 49ers and Cincinnati Bengals to each pay his contracts in Bitcoin. Neither would do it. But hey, you know, That's pretty cool, I think. What do you think? I think that's pretty cool. So anyway, guys, that is it for me today. That is enough. We've had enough for today. Hope you guys are having an awesome day. No, Craig Wright is not Satoshi. We're just having fun. I mean, anybody that takes that seriously, come on, guys. Like, I just think that if you wanted to prove something, okay, and you had an option of taking the difficult way of doing it, or the simple way of doing it, why wouldn't you just do it the simple way instead of doing all these complex things and this and that and blah, blah, blah? Just move some freaking Bitcoin. I highly doubt that Satoshi Nakamoto lost his private keys. Of all people, do you know what I'm saying? Like, come on, man, just move the Bitcoin. So that's it for today. Looks like Crown was live when I had this page open. Anyway, thank you so much for coming back to the channel. You guys rock. If you found value in today's video, definitely get subscribed. I do this every single day, guys, and I do appreciate everyone that's been liking, subscribing, and commenting, everyone that's been hopping in the Crypto Zombies Telegram. Absolutely free to join. And yeah, that's really it for me today. So thank you so much once again for coming back to the channel. My name is K-Dub. This is Crypto Zombie. Until next time, stay crypto, and peace out.